That's right. It's live now. Cyrus says, and as you can see, I've got a job. I'm head of sales in Toyota. We're trying to sell the Prius to people because with the cost of petrol going through the roof, it makes sense that we do that. But a crime has been perpetrated in where I really am, which is CNBC studios shooting a show nobody watches. This is the crime that I've been talking about, and no one is taking action against this criminal activity. The beautiful dosa, which is the most taza and fresh thing in the country, is now sent to you in a paper bag like this and a tray. All right. Which means once I open it and unravel it, it's going to taste like a newspaper, literally. This crime has been going on behind my back and I've been complaining about it, but no one's taking action. But I have someone on this show who's going to help me deal with this situation. He's none other than Deepak Gopalakrishnan, who's also known as Chuck. Chuck, as we say
Hello.
in the South, ki hal hai? What's up, yaar?
Does that sambar come with sambar or sambar? These are two very different things.
Is it? Well, we've
Yeah.
got both. I don't know. The visuals aren't great, just like my own visual. But see, I love the dosa, all right? And it plays a
Yeah.
very important role. It's unifying our country. Let's face it, north, south,
Yeah.
east, west, everybody loves dosas. But how can you take the quality of that whole thing is the crispiness and the freshness, and and all that they put it inside a package and then they put plastic on top of it, which is against the Constitution of India. And then it's just, I'm going to open it now and I'm going to show you
Yeah.
what it actually tastes like. I mean, you can't know what it tastes like, but the whole look is gone. It's like one of those models. If you take one of those Naomi Campbells or whatever and put them in a cupboard for 3 years and take them out without makeup, it's not going to look the same anymore, which is the truth.
I
Now,
think
this is
they'll have
it.
bigger problems than that if they were in a
This is
cupboard for
this
3
is it.
years. But yeah,
Deepak, are you an expert
not
on
bad.
dosas? Are you a dosa expert?
I'm not a dosa expert. In terms of eating, yes, sure. I can be considered an expert, I suppose. But not in
Don't you
terms
think
of making them.
but someone has to raise the voice about this, no?
I
About
agree.
you take our snacks, our hot foods, and you can't put anything on top of it.
Yeah.
Paper, plastic, and you shut it, suffocate it, and then you kill it. Literally kill the food and then you serve it. This cannot
Yeah.
be done. Who do I
Yeah.
talk to? Who can bring this to the public domain where it needs to be? Because this show nobody watches. This show is reaching no one. This point
Right.
is trying to just vent here. I need to get a bigger space. Apparently, you have a few shows. Let me just quickly go through your biodata,
I
which
do,
is so
but none
big.
of them are going to help solve your dosha problem. I feel like I should start another one to solve all your idli, dosha, upma woes.
Okay, these sound like girlfriends now. Let me just quickly tell you that Deepak Gopalakrishnan, firstly, let's start at the top, which is your name is Chuck. I know we've discussed this before, but do you want to just quickly throw some light on it? Because I don't want people to get confused. In any case, we
Yeah,
talk too
sure.
fast, both of us. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So my PAN card name is Deepak Gopalakrishnan. When I was in college, I used to make a lot of bad jokes, which are in Malayalam called chali, which literally mean mud. So an enterprising friend just put together chali and Deepak and came up with Chuck. So it's just a name that's stuck ever since then. So
Is it
that
possible
is
to hear
like,
one of these enterprising jokes from the
do
past?
you really want to do this at this point of the
I
live
just want to
stream,
get a
or
sense of
like
your
probably towards
personality
the
because
end?
people
All
should
right, fair
understand
enough.
why. No, but Deepak, aka Chuck, people should know why
Yeah.
you were called Chuck. They'll think
Yeah,
it's just
fair
a
enough.
silly story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. So you must remember also that many of these were made during engineering college, so they might tilt towards the technical side of things. So what do you
So we
call
won't
the
understand the jokes.
Yeah,
You're on
yeah,
the right
fair.
forum then.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
been
yeah,
doing
fair
jokes
enough.
that nobody can understand for the last 10 years. So,
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. So what do you call the What do you call the temperature of 15th of August 1947, for example?
what?
Degrees of freedom.
Ah! I'll take a bite every time I like the joke. Okay, the full 1 hour is just you doing stand up now. Yeah. And then let's see if I can finish my
Sit
dosa
down,
in
sit
time.
down, sit down.
Ah.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I'm stopping now. We
Is it
have a
okay if I
lot
eat
more to
during
talk
the
about that.
Is it okay if I eat during the podcast?
Oh, absolutely. Please go ahead. An idli mind is a devil's workshop, as they say.
Yeah, and let me tell you, Chuck, while you pun away, I've got everything matching. A pink thing
Cow.
with my pink shirt. Nice, no?
Yeah,
This
it's
is
got a
all for
little
you.
dog on it. It's got a
Of
little
course,
dog on it as well.
I'm all about the dogs, bro. And you can see that from there. That's really fantastic.
Testament to my eyesight and your camera.
The show now because we wasted enough time with absolute nonsense. What's coming now is even worse. Deepak, let's go back into life. You got firstly 3 podcasts on IVM. Do you owe money to Amit Doshi? Why?
No, not really. Amit is a wonderful chap to work with, actually. Did you just take a bite because you considered that a joke?
I'm hoping that you'll talk for a long period of time every time so I can eat in peace. But if
All right, fair
you want to
enough.
catch me out and do one word answers, I'm screwed. This
I
whole
mean,
show
the
is going to
question
go.
you asked warranted one word as an answer. So,
No,
all
we
right,
have to
fair
go
enough.
through. We have to go through all three. So I thought,
Yeah.
I'll give you a little time in the beginning while I eat to explain them. But
All
that's
right,
fine.
fair enough. All right, fair enough. I'll
I'm,
do that. I'll do that. You eat your dosha. Let me see if we can talk about my shows by the time you finish your dosha. Done?
okay, but let's get to simplified last. Let's go into the
Yeah,
other two first. Huh?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
that fair?
yeah.
And
That's very
then
fair.
do you want an introduction, like a proper introduction? Because there's a huge introduction here.
There is.
And it's in first person. I'm a Mumbai-based content and digital marketing strategy freelancer. Blah 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 blah. Practicing alcoholic, left-leaning politician. There's all kinds of things out here. No point, right?
Largely true, but okay.
Okay. So just for those who don't know, you were particularly interested in working with small brands for whom simple logical advice could have a multiplier effect rather than a pretty-looking presentation. All right. He's going to explain all that to us a little later. But first, let's talk about the two podcasts and then simplified.
Yeah, yeah,
So which one do
yeah.
you want to start with?
The new one, Getting Meta, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So shall I?
Getting Meta. Yes, please.
Yeah. All right. You can eat your
Interrupt
dosha by the
yourself.
time. Yeah.
No. I'm paying attention. This is not some ruse
You
where
want
I
me to
get to eat
interrupt myself?
breakfast.
Fair enough.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, so like you said, I am a freelancer. I have been, ever since I quit the corporate PPT making life, I've been thinking a lot in terms of productivity and things like that. And as I go about this journey without sounding too philosophical about this, there are times when I said, "Oh, I wish I had done this, 10 years back or something of that
Teacher,
sort." Cyrus, yes.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You'll have to explain a little bit. I have the biodata and I've spoken to you before, so I'm a cheat. A little bit about the fact that you were in advertising,
Yeah.
and you had a conventional job in a sense and doing conventional things, and then you decided. So can we just go back to that as well?
Yeah, sure. So I graduated from a B school called MICA back in 2009. I spent about a decade in advertising and events.
You're the third MICA in the last 2 weeks that we've had on the show, by the way.
It's
raining
I
MICA.
guess Facebook was one of, it's part of her outreach strategy.
Like
so I spent 10 years in advertising at Ogilvy, Leo Burnett, couple of other places, made more PPTs than I can be bothered to count. I worked at OML and Insider as well after that. I liked what I did, but I just wanted a little more control over my time. So after 10, 11 years in the so-called corporate world, I mean, you could still walk into office in shorts. I decided to just take it out on my own, just to have a little more control over my time, stop working by 6 p.m. And things have been pretty decent ever since. So yeah, that's sort of like where this came about. And as I was doing this, I've been thinking a lot about, how to maximize my time, how to what are the questions to ask myself and things like that. Philosophical questions. As we get older, we tend to ask ourselves. So I've been reading a lot about this, and then I thought, hey, why not just speak to people who I admire? And that is where the idea for Getting Meta really came about.
And to understand meta, as in metaphysics, meta means extra, right? What's meta?
Extra,
larger.
So it's like when I interview somebody, I don't really speak to them about their achievements, but their own thinking process and all that. So hence it was kind of like getting meta with them. Like the first show was with Amit Verma, so we didn't really talk about his process, his writing and all that, but more about how he goes about thinking and all that. So the idea really is so that anybody else from any other field can possibly get inspired by that advice and apply it, even if they're working in, say, investment banking, or they're an athlete, or they are a podcast host. So yeah. So I get meta.
I want to clarify that meta also doesn't mean the fact that you and the guest, you met her for a drink, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The jokers will come up with, since you're a punster yourself, I'm just worried that that's going to happen. But coming back to Amit Verma, so let's understand. So you're looking at the process behind whoever the person is, the process that makes them do what they do. Am I right?
Yeah. And the questions.
So you can never interview me because I have no process.
No, I think that would make for a fascinating interview, actually. Yeah.
I'm a bit like, and I don't mean this arrogantly, like Viru Shevag. I just have no idea what I'm doing. So, it's just lucky sometimes the things come off.
I eke out these habits from you, Cyrus.
I swear to you, I get intimidated by people who have processes. Amit Verma gets up early morning, plays with himself for 10 minutes, then wipes his pubic hair dry, then sits on a mat and looks at a wall for 25 minutes, and then writes only 3 words down. And then after lunch begins his real writing spree. People actually do that. They have
Yeah,
certain. My friend Kunal, who's working here, he only uses the same geography. For him, he can't write anywhere else. Like
yeah,
we have
yeah,
to write on the fly a lot, and he just can't do that. It just upsets him. He needs to
yeah.
be in
It's
that
nice.
same.
No,
Sorry.
go on. Sorry.
No, no,
Go ahead.
please interrupt. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that I used to fight with him a lot about this, and now that you have a show where people are looking at, I don't know whether it's a crutch or whether it's a difficult point to come to. Whether it's a crutch you need or whether you made it into a crutch and now you can't do without it. But there are a lot of
yeah,
people who have their go-to things, and without those
yeah.
go-to things, I mean, I'm not talking about great athletes that you mentioned and all that. Putting the left pad first, whatever, like that. And if that doesn't happen, they lose it. They lose their confidence.
Yeah,
So
firstly, it's very nice that you managed to get your hands on the uncut edition of that episode with Amit Verma, which the
I go
part
back
that
a
you
lot.
mentioned,
Amit
his
Verma, he used to
morning
work
routine
at.
did not make it to the final episode. Secondly, every
You're a
person
classy
who
show. Ours is the unclassy show. So you'd
so
only take the sophisticated part of the podcast. We, on the other
every
hand,
person I
we went
interviewed.
to the cube immediately.
Cyrus, every person I interviewed said, "Why are you interviewing me for this? I don't have any processes, etc." So that is good precedent. I would love to have you on. So there we go.
No,
Secondly,
no, but
I don't.
yeah, go on.
Huh. No. Second, so I'll just clarify that one point in case somebody here is actually looking for the advice. No, I don't think it's about these exact. Oh, this pad should go on first, or every day I need to write with this exact pen or something like that. I think it's a little broader than that. What are the questions? What are the metrics that you ask yourself? I mean, everybody is wired differently. Some people wake up and sure have a morning ritual like what you said. Somebody else might have completely random sort of days, but it's okay. Everybody works in different ways, and I think that was one of the reasons I started the show. When I started freelancing and was searching for freelancing advice, a lot of it was prescriptive, and it's like, okay, what if I don't fit into that, or what if this is not my goal? Here are different other ways to sort of approach it. Maybe you need different goals. So that was, I mean, all that serious stuff is really
So,
what I try to answer on the show.
so
Too much
that begs the
serious?
question then, Chuck, immediately. What is Chuck's process? I mean,
My
you're basically
my
a
process.
philosopher. Let's face
My,
it. No matter how funny you are or punny you are a philosopher. So what is your process?
Well, fair enough. So I try to have a fixed calendar for one. So when I started freelancing, I said, I'm not going to work beyond 6 p.m. I mean, that's sort of like the thing I gave myself. See, various people start freelancing for various reasons. Some people want more money, some people want more control. I said, I want a little more control in my life. So, and then it became a matter of then optimizing that time from whatever, 9, 10 to 6 p.m. So that is, I guess, my broad process, and everything else kind of falls within that. I don't want to bore your listeners with
No, no,
that right now.
so you're into the whole discipline package is what you're saying.
Yeah,
You follow
discipline,
a very
forcing yourself to
strict
be
protocol.
disciplined. Yeah. So writing down stuff on paper. I'm a big believer in writing down stuff on paper. Before I commit to PPT, I always like writing stuff down. I think some things like this just help me out. So there are a few
I
small things, a few big things.
To be honest, Chuck, I do the same thing. I don't want to, take away from your glory, but I also write on paper. My problem is it always lands up to the wrong person. For example, I wrote "I love you," and my producer
Uh,
Mohit got it when it was for my
uh,
daughter.
all right.
And so he's now not talking to me. There's an awkward silence between us because I think he likes me. And, he's got the wrong message. And in fact, if you want to take a look at Ivan, just come into camera.
Yeah, and hi, Ivan.
Uh,
Hello.
he's saying hello, hello. He's not educated, so it's difficult to
And did
explain
you
to him.
send the show description to your daughter then? Because that will change the relationship you have with her then.
No, nothing is going to change that relationship. That relationship is a master and slave, and I'm the slave. So there's no hope as far as that's concerned. Okay, let's get back to Meeta.
Yeah.
So, tell us about some interesting people on the podcast so far.
Yeah,
Who,
so there are some people who might be familiar to you. There's Utsav Mamoria, who also runs Postcards from Nowhere. I think he's been on your show before.
correct.
I think there was Krish Ashok, who recently wrote that book Masala Lab, but I've been following his work for a long time. He's a brilliant content creator, humorist, and all that. His most famous work for a lot of us early Twitter folks was when he converted an Italian menu into a bhajan that sort of like went viral. A couple of other interesting people as well. Dimant Parekh, who runs the Better India and the Better Home. So I've always found his way of thinking and all that very nice. Meeta Malhotra, who used to be a partner at India's largest design firm, Ray and Keshavan, and now is a serial entrepreneur. So it's like a mix of people. A couple of my friends as well, whose ways of living I like really admire. So it's a mix of people who are across various fields, various things taken away from all of them. Someone who cycled from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and is very involved in social
Which
work.
now,
so,
at petrol being $108 a liter,
yeah,
makes a
it's
lot
not
of
a bad
sense.
idea.
I mean, it's not a joke or a great thing anymore. It's the way of the future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So do you imbibe any of this into your own life, or is it just a show, or do you actually have life lessons and say, okay, I'm not asking you to cycle, don't worry.
No, I do, actually, strange enough, I actually do cycle. Yeah, I guess there are some of the. So I think that many of the lessons that I learn on the show are sort of like long term in nature. Like it's not like, okay, like do this, and suddenly your life will become better. It's more about asking questions to yourself every, say, 3 months or 4 months or something, like evaluating where you're putting a little more perspective on what you do. So in some sense, I guess I am imbibing some of. When you speak to so many people across various fields and they kind of like go back to the same thing, ask yourself basic questions, evaluate where you are with respect to this, take away something from all your failures and stuff like that. I guess it does affect you in some way, and it subliminally goes into.
There you go. That's exactly my thought. It's all on a subconscious level. That's where it works the best, isn't it?
That's why meta, no?
Yeah, that's why meta. You just derive what you derive from it without knowing. It's like when we were kids. We pick up things. I became an excellent batsman on the offside because I just used to watch a lot of David Garr. The problem is he was a left-hander. So actually my offside became my onside. But I don't want to bore you with details. But I'm just saying what you could do as a kid because you just took it in. You probably don't do as an adult because we're too conscious, I feel. We'll be in an unconscious state more often. And that is where Maharashtra has been doing its diligent duty with this lockdown. Because I feel a sense of coma. Escalation. No, I do. I don't know. Where are you? Where are you talking from?
I am very much in Mumbai. Yeah.
Oh God, so you're suffering.
I mean, if you consider Goregaon Mumbai, then yes, yeah.
Well, I do. Now I do. I don't have a choice because we have to go there once a month at least to shoot something or the other, which nobody watches either. Yeah. In fact, I just went there and got lost. Tell me about the GPS. Want to segue there for a second? The GPS, when you go to studios in suburban Bombay, they lose. It's amazing how they get it wrong at the last second. The right becomes the left becomes a U-turn. You're in the wrong area. You're somewhere there, but you're not exactly there. And I someone has to study this for me, along with the dosa being put inside paper and plastic. Yeah. I have to find out how GPS fails in certain parts of India, no matter how good it is all over the world. It's a huge issue with me. I hope you do another show just for that.
Yeah, and I think that's a nice research topic for the fine folks at IIT to take up as well. Yeah, there we go.
You guys dosa are from GPS. What the hell? Don't waste that mica education, my good friend. All right, so let's move to the next one because we'll suddenly be out of time and I have had a nonsense conversation again, which is good for you because it's cleansed your slate for your more philosophical conversation to come.
Yeah.
But so that's Meeta. Firstly, can I ask you, Chuck, you don't get overwhelmed doing 3 podcasts?
Not really, because Simplified is, I mean, there are 4 of us, so we take turns coming out of the topic. So literally, I need to come out with one idea for a show every month, and it takes about, say, 3-4 hours worth of research, and it's usually on a topic that I'm kind of interested in myself. Getting Meta and the other show, The Origin of Things, the way I'm looking at it right now, they will happen when each other is not happening. So I'm doing like a season of 10 shows for Getting Meta right now, and The Origin of Things is inactive as of now and will revive that later. So I guess you could say it's 1.25 podcasts that I run at any point of time. Does that make sense? I guess that does.
It does, because our podcast is also a fraction. It can't really be a full podcast from any angle. But I just want to remind viewers or people listening, we started this show at 10 sharp. It's about 10:18, 10:19 now. Yeah. And I still have 1/3 dosa left. And this is something I like. Now I'm eating it like those kids being forced to eat vegetables when they're young, and they don't like it. So I'm eating it slowly. Let's see how long it takes to consume the entire plate and make sure the plate is empty. See, this is the great thing about our podcast, Chuck. I don't want to brag, but we have 2 dimensions or 3 dimensions all the time. We have you. We have your entire story, what's going on. So that's there. Then we have some physicality that's always in the background, which is happening live. You know, no other podcast can give you this. It's like a sport.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then we have my disconnected thoughts, which have nothing to do with your thoughts. You know, so it's like two separate podcasts and a physicality on its own.
Absolutely. It's like these videos.
Talk to me, Beta, about Meta now. Who's Meta?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Meta and Meta.
So, yeah. It's like there's this new trend of watching of YouTubers just streaming themselves eating. So it's kind of like that plus an unboxing video.
But the unboxing video, Chuck, now you bring it up, it blows my mind how that, you know, we're talking about irreverent things and trying to make them interesting and all that. But how do they make this into a huge, it's the most stupid thing in the world. I mean,
people are watching, no?
Yes. Can you explain it from a sociological ramifications of why? I can't understand why it's interesting.
I think, okay, I think there are a set of people who are actually looking for the review of the damn thing, like unboxing of a phone and all that. They actually want to buy the phone. So there's a small fraction doing
specific products, but there's now unboxing where you don't know what it is. You're still watching.
Yeah, I think then this is a vicarious pleasure in, you know, when somebody tunes on to a cricket match, you really don't know what's going to happen. You don't know whether your team is going to play well, play badly. And in the case of Pakistan, it could be like from here to here in 2 matches. So I guess there's a little bit of that uncertainty, unpredictability, like, oh, what's going to happen over there? So I guess something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know, there's a voyeuristic appeal there I'm getting, which means it's like tech porn. You know, it's like a metaphor for porn in tech.
It doesn't need to be tech either, right? It can be anything. It could be a water bottle as well, right? So
I've seen worse. I can't tell you. So my daughter was showing me these unboxing. I mean, and they all love the expressions of the person for whatever the hell. You know, I mean, really, it's come down to this. All right. Yeah. We'll run out of time. Let's quickly get back to show number 2, the origin of things.
Yeah.
So now we've got Meta. Meta is about the person and the process they put in, and more than that, obviously. Now, how do we differentiate origin of things?
Yeah, the origin of things is very different. It's a show where I talk about the origins of brands in about 5 minutes or so, and it's a dramatized origin of brands, and I reveal the name of the brand only at the end. So you got this like
Can I test you?
Long story. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Wow. Okay.
What is the origin of the brand Amul?
I mean, I know what the origin of the brand is, but it's really not a show like it's really not a show like that, because some brands have very
the brand Robin Hood underwear banyan.
Sorry,
the origin of the brand Robin Hood underwear banyan.
Okay, I was actually thinking of the stock trading app in the US, but no, I genuinely do not know. You've stumped me there.
Okay, these are all ads from 200 years ago. What about BJ, Babu Bhai, Jagjeevan Das, suiting, shirting, dress material, first class.
Were you paid for that? Were you paid for that plug right now?
Back in the 80s, I was a young kid. We would go to see a movie only to see BJ. Because they would actually say these words, BJ, and there would be a strobe light in the background. It was like I shot it, you know, and some strange girls in the, you know, dancing in shadowy figures in a discotheque. And this was the copy. Babu Bhai Jagjeevan Das, very famous suiting shirting. I don't know, it's probably gone now. But BJ was what their advertising people came up with. And till today, 40 years later on, I can remember it. So, I mean, if you're talking about, I mean, this is your subject, but if you're talking about a part of a brand, if it lasts 40 years with a guy who's never bought the product, I mean, it's you know, it's hit your soul, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like how Vicco turmeric is still there in theatre.
Vicco turmeric.
There you go.
Oh wow, you're making me cry with nostalgia.
You can use Vicco turmeric for that, I think.
Huh?
You can use Vicco turmeric for that, I think, for the crime.
No, I'm thinking maybe you have another podcast here, the nostalgic podcast.
The nostalgia podcast, yeah.
Mementos from the 80s and 90s. You know,
Mentos from the 80s. We'll call it Mentos.
You already sold it. You got your brand. There you go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Sorry, back to origin of things. We masturbate too much, my friend. You and me together. It's a horrible show. The worst ever. We just keep going.
We're just taking a leaf out of Amit Verma's morning ritual.
But I think he's on some heavy narcotics or medication. We have nothing to blame it on. I have this really strange protein shake, if you want to share it with me, after I finish this really old dosa prepared in the time of the Pallav Empire, as you can see.
Yeah, fair enough. You still haven't done. You're still not done with that. Okay. So a lot of companies actually. I mean, we think of many brands as you know, there's a straightforward way in which the company grew and all that. But actually, there have been lots of interesting twists and turns along the way, and how the company started or how it was envisaged is very different from how it turned up. Or there have been some very pivotal moments in a company's history. For example, and this might be a little scandalous, the Tata Group owes itself to a large part of its early success came because of the opium trade, for example. So, which obviously you will not find on any of the About Us section of their websites. Similarly, the revered club Manchester United had a dog to thank in big part for what they ended up becoming. Lots of interesting twists and turns like this for many of our most beloved brands. So,
a dog to thank. Man, you became a club because of a doggy.
Yeah, sort of actually. Yeah. So the story goes. Do you want me to tell you the story?
Woof,
yeah?
Woof.
Woof, woof. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Got that. So Man United, like all these clubs which started off in the late 1800s or early 1900s, they were basically workers' union or local sort of clubs. Newton Heath FC was what it started off as, and the club was going through a lot of financial trouble. And one of the players actually said, "I'm going to auction off my dog to raise money for funds and all that." Long story short, it reached the ears of a local brewer who thought that this was a beautiful thing, and he didn't buy the dog, but he gave the club a lot of money. And from there, success became success. That millionaire, I guess, funded the new stadium and all that. And that dog is immemorialized today. So I think if you go to Old Trafford, you'll find its statue as well. So I know it's a small part of history, but it wouldn't have happened. So yeah.
Is the dog's name Alex Ferguson?
No, it's not actually. Alex Ferguson wasn't around. I know he doesn't look it, but he wasn't around in the late 1800s.
You don't have to explain a bad moment in podcast. You just have to let it go, Chuck. Whoever's left listening to us, they're mature enough to take that, on the chin.
Fair enough. Yeah.
All right.
So that's what the show is about. That's what the show is about.
Fascinating. I mean,
literally origins of brands.
So did you, as a young person, as a young guy growing up, did you have this? Some people have that knack for, these facts. How did it start? Where did it start from? And then you find that from a peanut, some huge industry grew or whatever.
Did
you have that kida in your head always?
No, I don't think I had it in my head always, but I've always been fascinated by the butterfly effect. Like some small thing ended up, leading to this. So usually, like when I get drunk or something, I say, oh, if it weren't for that, then this wouldn't have happened. This wouldn't have happened. I like thinking about that a lot in personal life and in terms of brands and all that. See everything around us, like something, oh, this wouldn't have happened if that wouldn't have happened. And it usually ends up being something very silly and something very small. So my aim with this show is to try to dramatize that one sort of big moment, and like the brands that you love, know, consume, this is what it started off as, and this little twist of fate happened, and that's how it ended up being so big and all that.
And so it's fair to say that Chuck's best presentations to brands would be when you're drunk, because that's where the creativity and innovation goes unparalleled.
Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't tried it in a professional setting. It might be too late now, but yeah, I think that would be a great.
Joe Rogan and gang do their podcast now. Everybody copies that format where they've got a spiff, they've got some ganja, they've got they're downing the whiskey. They really relax like it's early days in a party.
Yeah.
The whole point is that in the first half of a drinking session or a relaxed session, not that we are pro narcotics, it's should be banned in all countries and we're against it.
It's horrible thought.
Don't put anything in your mouth, not even meat, not even water. Water,
not even water. Everything should be intravenous.
Oil. And the vaccine is to be taken in the bum. No,
if the oil comes from Ambani, then yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to stay there out of this because I need my brands. Without my brands, I don't have work. Okay, Chuck, you can take shots at them because you're out of the picture and trying to drive the picture from outside.
All the blame comes here. Yeah. Keep Cyrus out.
Okay, listen, you're talking too much, so we have to take a quick break and then come back. But just a quick word on Simplify. That's the one everyone knows and we've already discussed it. But just a quick word. That's like your fun podcast, is it now?
It's become sort of like this. Yeah, I mean, it's honestly for me, it's like like my producer at IVM will say, "Hey guys, we need to record this weekend," and for me, it's a good excuse to hang out with 3 of my best friends every alternate Saturday, and that's honestly it. And then once in a while, he'll ping and say, "Guys, please send the episode title and description." That's when I know that recording was actually a recording. But yeah, Simplified is just good fun. I learn something new every time from the guys, and we always make bad jokes, and we always skewer WhatsApp family group forwards, so that's fun as well.
So last question, and the main question: which is the one you're most closest to or love the most, or is that really unfair?
I don't think it's unfair. I'm not going to do the usual "I love all my kids"
Sophie's choice
sort of answer. No. I would say if I were to pick between the three, it would be The Origin of Things. I think it's meant a lot to people. I get a lot of. I mean, that's a show that gets me fan mail, strangely enough. And I like the concept behind it as well, and I think it's something that can be extended quite nicely. Getting meta, maybe. Let's see how this season goes. I mean, only one episode is out so far. Rohan Joshi comes on this week, as in the recording's already done, but his episode releases this week. Let's see how that goes. But yeah, I think Origin of Things will remain close to me for many reasons. And yeah, I guess that's the one I would choose if I had to.
So, Deepak / Chuck, you've taught us an important lesson, an invaluable lesson here on IVM podcast. The cerebral podcast is always the one that's going to really do well in the long run. So, obviously, there's no hope for us. Silvery, please come in. Let me give you the bad news. He's pointed out there's some wisdom to podcasts, not just lateral thinking, but actual, normal wisdom, if one can use that word, which we don't seem to have on our show. How do we improve? How do we improve, Silvery?
Sorry,
we get Chuck on more regularly. We get Chuck on more regularly. I think that's what we do.
Chuck's already doing 3 podcasts. He's podcasted out of control. He needs a break from podcasts.
He can't do a fourth. He can't have.
He doesn't have a spare minute left. Yeah. And plus, you start charging.
True.
Yeah, I'm actually writing my script for the next episode with my toes as we're typing. See, that's the productivity.
Oh wow!
With your toes. I'm writing for my television show with my toes. With my toes. Yes.
Did you finish your dosha? Importantly,
I'll try and show it to you.
Okay, there we go. Oh, you ordered a masala. Nice.
Oh wow!
I always order a masala. I can't eat the sada. Sada is too plain for me.
Yeah. You left the
what's your preference?
The entire.
I've got all that is left for anybody who wants. Yeah.
Oh, nice. My preference is a Mysore sada, Mysore with the actual chutney and not the stuff that you get on the roadside, though.
Stop showing off. This is where we are. This is what I've got. Yeah, Mysore masala would be my preference, but the authentic one. Now once you eat better ones and then you eat less better ones, it's a real pain in the ass. What can you do?
Yeah.
I can't complain. This is Mohit Mahale, my producer, is nice enough to get me this, and he doesn't charge us for the dosa. How much does it cost? $35 saved. But honestly, I wouldn't pay for this.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
All right. Okay, Deepak, part 2 of our show, which is the AMAs and questions coming in. And we've got most of them are sexual. Questions. So please, I warn you.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know why Silvery has disappeared. He's in charge of the AMAs. Silvery?
Why do you call him Silvery?
Oh, Silvery. There's one. Should we start with this? Then I'll tell you about Silvery. The South Indian delicacies have always been underrated. Which one is your favorite South Indian delicacy? Harvesh Kasada asked the question. He's one of our regulars. He's almost like part of the podcast.
All right.
Which is your favorite?
I mean, everyone knows the dosha, idli, and all that you get at your standard Udupi restaurant. But I think in the south, there's some wonderful fried things that come along with rice, which are usually a staple of, say, South Indian, that Palakkad belt sort of diet. Like lotus leaves, lotus stems cut and fried are amazing. Tamar Karanga, they call it in the south. You will find them on some websites. You won't find them on the usual Amazon type places, but those are fantastic. And I think they're highly, highly underrated. They go great with curd rice.
Oh, but you can't eat them alone? Like standalone?
Oh, you can eat them standalone. Oh, goodness, have I eaten them standalone.
Is there masala on it?
Yeah. There is no masala on it. It's sort of like, it's sort of treated, I guess, with chili powder, salt, and everything left out to dry, and then it's like you've had curd chilies. You had curd chilies, Cyrus?
No, but no, I don't think. Maybe I have, but chili powder, I'm a big fan. So we're okay there.
Chili powder in general.
In general, yeah, I can eat that with anything. Honestly.
Are you talking about that podi that comes with the dosha? Podi dosha. Are you talking about that, or are you just talking about Kashmiri chili powder, the red thing?
It's a red chili mirchi. Silvery, what's chili powder called?
Lal mirch powder.
Yeah, lal mirch powder.
Yeah, that's what. Something like that. Fair enough. I mean, he's the cook now, so we have to go to him for all the expert advice when it comes to all things kitchen.
No.
Yeah. Did he make
a little bit.
You want proof that he's the best cook? Show us your mirchi.
I don't have. No.
What?
Like in this
That can-
lockdown, I just started cooking a bit, and that's so I was like, oh, this guy's a chef now. He's gonna be a chef.
What kind of
He's
kid?
encouraging.
He refuses to show his mirchi. He's supposed to be a king of the kitchen now. But he has become, jokes apart, he's become a chef, huh? He's
not,
pretty good.
Not a
Yeah.
chef.
I'll keep that in mind.
Chuck,
Thank
during
you
lockdown,
for-
have you become
Yeah.
a bit of a chef yourself?
I wouldn't say chef, but yeah, kitchen competence has increased. I think the biggest surprise was sushi. Actually, it's much easier than I thought
Wow.
it could actually be. Yeah, and actually end up saving a lot of money by doing that. So,
Easy
yeah,
because apparently it's not cooked that much as is rawish.
Yeah.
But it's very sophisticated in its own way, right? I mean, it's not just.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's difficult to assemble, but it's kind of therapeutic to sort of put it together. So yeah,
It's a flavor of the month because we're going to Tokyo for the Olympics soon.
Yeah.
We're going to have only Olympic athletes on our podcast because of the influence and pull that both me and Silvery have in the sports world. So
yeah, and
we've
they'll
got,
have only Olympic athletes in the stadiums also.
well, we've got one guy who's free. Well, he's not free. Paradoxically, he's in jail, but he's free in that sense. So Sushil Kumar is going to be on a special with his television set with the jailer provided him so that he can stay in touch with the wrestling world, so to speak. So what's your take on that story? What's the origin of the species there, bro?
That's the origin of species. I speak only about brands, so I decline to answer this very controversial question that you have just asked. Nobody gets
Yeah,
offended if you make fun of brands.
But it's an amazing story. How people who
Yeah.
seem to have the world at their feet do things like that. Normally you see there's a correlation between a person struggling in life and crime and wrong things, etc., etc., etc. And not to give logic to it, but you can see the path when it
Yeah.
goes the other way, and a person is very successful and an iconic person, and it just doesn't add up. He doesn't even drink. He doesn't
Yeah.
even drink. It's
I
amazing.
think Donald Trump never drunk.
No. And vegetarian, both of them. Donald Trump, him, and I'll give you a list of others, but later. Silvery,
Yep.
what's next?
Chuck, I want to ask, who would be like a dream guest for you on Getting Meta? Like that you would like,
Oh.
this would be
Oh.
like the ultimate get.
Elon Musk,
No, I just think the guy's a little. Never mind.
Richard Branson.
After the space flight, yeah, Richard Branson.
No,
after the
no,
space flight.
no. I don't want these showy characters who everyone speaks.
I don't-
So actually, is interesting you asked, Antarish. So the dream guest for my show would actually be a guy called Tim Ferriss. He runs a show called the Tim Ferriss Show, and in many ways, Getting Meta is inspired from his show itself. So I have been largely inspired by his show. So I would love to have him on board. My guess is that you were hoping for a slightly weirder answer than that. So I would say Paul McCartney.
Wow.
Wow.
I'll watch that.
That's a
I'll
great
watch
answer.
that.
Yeah,
It's
I
great.
don't know why I said that. I think I just want to fanboy over him. I mean, that's,
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
both of us
just-
are Beatles
yeah.
fans, so you were safe.
Yeah.
It was a good answer to go to. You did your research on the origin of our thinking and you put it all together in a nice package.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Little gender parity would be needed, though. We've only discussed male figures, not a single female figure in the run-up. Not even in the examples you've given us before in the entire
I
podcast.
did mention Meeta. I did mention Meeta though, but there are no. There are. I was very.
Who's the
conscious of that.
Who's the female diva or female figure that you would aspire to talk to, or you'd be really
Faye
interested?
D'Souza. Faye D'Souza, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she'd be great for something like this. I mean, from so many different angles, this could be approached, like new media, like dealing with trolls, all sorts of things. I think I mean, for many reasons. When I listed down my list of guests, there were some that I knew I could speak to in season 1 because I had access to them and they knew what I do and all that. Faye was very clearly okay. Season 2. Let's see how season 1 goes, and if it's a success, then we can approach these set of people. Cyrus, you're in season 2.
Luckily, we just made the cut because your guest cancelled. But I just want to ask you a very good question here, and that is, do they ever ask you for money?
Who?
Come on, the guest.
Of course not.
No, yeah.
Then why do they ask us, Silvery? What the hell's going on?
they don't ask. They don't know. They don't
They
ask.
always ask us. Then they call me later and said, "Boss, kuch nahi mila, conveyance bhi nahi mila." And I'm saying, podcast, you don't get conveyance because you're on your Zoom and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But they still
Yeah,
talk about meta thinking. People like, that's the system. System should be
No,
honored.
they
It's
don't,
not
they
about
don't.
where you are in lockdown.
Yeah, no, they don't. It's a good question. Whoever asked it, because there's okay. Podcasts and money typically don't. They are immiscible liquids, as we would say back in engineering. So no, yes, typically do not.
Why don't you just admit to your
although-
communist leanings and just say that you're so far left now that you don't care anymore, and you left brands in the background, and all you want to do is bring the world together. There you go, through the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to
Thank you.
which one?
Whoever asked.
people in the chat who want to hear their voice rather than us. So let's go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next one, next question comes in from Balaji Srinivasan. He says, have you ever tried butter chicken dosa? And is there a better dish that symbolizes national integration?
Oh, nice. Nice.
Go ahead.
Very nice.
Are you... Deepak, are you answering?
Me, yeah. Yeah, butter chicken dosa. I don't know how you were expecting that. I don't know whether it's one integrated dish which has butter chicken inside the dosa, but I love having dosa separately and like North Indian gravies, like chicken tikka along with dosa. Oh my goodness, that's
goes very well.
Combinations. Yeah.
And there was a man called Sanjay Narang who owned this Mars specialty restaurants, who in the late 90s, if I remember correctly, brought in the dosa with the meat. So, I don't know if it was butter chicken exactly, but exactly what you're saying. North Indian flavored meats and the dosa.
South Indian
carbs,
breads.
the South Indian carbs and the North Indian meats and something like that.
Yeah,
and the masalas were from both, depending on what you chose. And it worked very well. Unfortunately, the product didn't work very well because people, you know how Indians are. We just are not flexible. No Indian touches his toes, anymore.
When I was growing up, engineering college in Kerala, we used to very frequently have that Kerala paratha along.
Oh,
with,
I love that.
Kerala paratha along with so-called Indian Chinese. So I used to have a lot of gobi Manchurian or chicken.
You're off the show. You're off the show. You can't mix those two.
Wow, I have crossed the Cyrus line. Wow. It's a great combination.
Kerala paratha,
the thing is, we used to have them with the regular Kerala stuff all the time. So this was kind of like normal.
Yeah. I mean, the band Meat Chili, whose name I won't mention, those kind of things went well with it. I don't want to mention.
Sorry, I have outraged Cyrus. Sorry.
We are very close to getting sponsorship from the central government for our show. Because apparently, Silvery and
if that happens, you'll have a lot more problems than eating Kerala paratha with gobi Manchurian.
If they pay, I follow the script. Don't worry about it. Not a problem at all.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And since our political party is also called BJP, Brocha Janata Party, which Silvery has conned yesterday. So we are very close. So there's confusion in any case because we're also BJP. They're also BJP. They have the power, but nobody knows we don't have the power because we're BJP. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just a play of words. Once again, guys, I want to show you what's happening in Afghanistan because the Taliban is now back. The Americans are, Mr. Dhami. Can you just wave to the people here? They don't. Now that you've gone back to Kandahar, and a couple of words.
Hello, Mr. Dhami. Oh, he looks like Mohanlal actually.
If they say you look like Mohanlal, that's a great compliment. One of the greats of all time. Of course, he doesn't earn like Mohanlal. He earns like a simple Mohan. That's all for this stupid show that we do. Yeah. Sorry. Have you ever tried butter chicken dosa? But this point about national integration, what a metaphor that turns out to be, doesn't it? That we don't mix South and North dishes.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world by now, if you have this kind of non-homogeneous culture, they would have mixed more. But we've kept everything bloody apart. Why haven't we? I mean, it's taken this great podcast to come up with the fact that, you've tried a few things in your college days, etc., and slowly revealing that we are secular in single space, but we don't do it as a sense of identity where, wow, what a great idea, as you just mentioned, taking the South Indian snacks, taking the North Indian meats and sometimes curries or masalas from either and mixing them together.
Yeah, and I take another point with Balaji's question. Whenever we talk about this integration, it always tends to be north-south, never east-west. So have you tried like mixing tepla along with something from the northeast, for example?
Superb, absolutely.
Like that's from the northeast along with Gujarati tepla. I think that would be great.
Northeast, the east in general, and by east I don't mean let's leave Bengal out of it. Bengal gets a lot of copy in India, but from Orissa onwards to the northeast, everything is just like the dark continent. We don't give them any sort of profile, and it's just left out. I'm going to fight for this in this new BJP that we've engineered. Yeah, would you like to be part of our party? Would you like to join the BJP Part 2.5?
Give a senior member of the party.
We'll give you a portfolio, promise, and no rejigging for at least 2 years.
Yeah, done.
Yeah,
we'll make you Meta Minister. How's
Minister?
Meta Minister. Great. You explain it. You explain it to the press and all that. We won't even tell you what it is. It's your thing. After that,
done. This sounds great.
Silvery, you'll get information and technology.
Oh, okay, great, perfect, works.
What do you want? You want stand-up comedy as a separate ministry?
I want the home ministry. Oh no, I think that's for Amit Doshi. Sorry, he'll just fit perfectly in that.
So from one Amit to the next Amit without stopping.
Basically, that's
no imagination whatsoever.
It just makes sense. It's a perfect fit.
All right.
Once I get into this butter chicken dosa thing, one of the best things I've had in my life, I kid you not, is a butter chicken cheese paneer Frankie. I repeat, a butter chicken cheese paneer Frankie at Breadcraft Frankie in Lokhandwala. So
Nice.
just a random recommendation if you guys are interested in having the heaviest, best meal you'll ever have in your life.
So paneer, cheese, butter chicken, and roti in one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, this is not. This is a gainer.
They put egg
This is
also
a
in that.
gainer.
No.
This is a pure gainer meal. Huh? There's no question of
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out there. I don't want people fighting later. Yaar, main socha diet pe tha and all that. No.
No, nothing like that. No.
It's like bodybuilders like to get those double mutton rolls in Cal and all, which the Hangla ones and all that we have in Delhi and Bombay also, because it's in that one roll they put 2 eggs and 3 eggs and lots of whatever. It's not so much about the taste, although Hangla is damn tasty. As you mentioned, and there's the East, Bengal, that we've mentioned in some light. So superb, Chuck. You've opened our eyes again. This is a fabulous point that we haven't mixed up the foods, which is symbolic of how we haven't mixed up the country enough, and hence we have this disparity in thought sometimes, which is ridiculous. It leads to all kinds of issues. Are you married, Chuck?
Yes, I am actually.
Is it? Have you married a Malayali girl or somebody outside the fraternity?
Reasonably inside the fraternity, actually.
Damn you! You're a hypocrite and a liar. You wasted my time. Get out of my podcast forever.
If
all this talk about secularism.
Yeah, but if it helps, she grew up in Bombay. So
how does it help? Don't you know that for us Mumbaikars, all the people from Kerala, from Bihar, from Delhi, from Punjab, all of them grew up in Mumbai. We don't know anything beyond the borders of this lovely city, which is also, I love and hate the city. I think very few cities in the world you can love and hate at the same time.
Oh yeah,
and this is one of them. Right?
Completely. Yeah. I'm actually missing the Bombay local trains. I never thought I would be saying that, but this lockdown has done. Just yesterday, I was feeling nostalgic for that smell that comes when you pass Mahim Creek. I was missing that smell. Yes. Yeah. Lockdown has done weird things to us.
Yeah. We are conditioned to such pain. I also now, I'm going to be taking a plane after 4 months today for something, finally. So I'm just thinking how I hate taking planes normally and all that. How I hate the idea of coming home, traveling alone, etc., etc. But now I think I'm going to enjoy that plane coming back to Mumbai and seeing the blue tarpaulin during the monsoon across all the huts. That blue, we have that one generic blue. That's Mumbai for me. You have to see that you're back home. That's especially if you come from, say, Canada or something. That's the thing that will remind you you've come to the right place. The Beijing of Southeast Asia, right there.
Yeah, there are these pranksters living near some airports, I think in Australia and in the US, who write on their roofs "Welcome to," and they have the wrong city. So when you're landing in Melbourne, you have a sign that says "Welcome to Sydney," and just to freak the guys who are coming to the airport. That's never going to happen with Bombay, right? That's never ever going to happen.
It all depends on the level of the pilot's competence, I mean, it's possible he took the wrong left, and next thing you know, Jaipur, Jodhpur, not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Can happen. I have back in the day, but this is like 25 years ago, boarded the wrong flight because they didn't used to check so diligently, and I went into a flight which was for Delhi when I was supposed to go to Bangalore. I got in, and luckily I heard people talking in Kannada, which is ridiculous because they could be talking on any flight in Kannada. And just for a second, I was thinking, so there's a Bangalore flight because everybody's talking Kannada. So I asked the guy, "You're from Bangalore?" His conversation started, and then in that he let out that he's going to Delhi, and I was on the wrong plane. But they let me out, and they let me on to the next plane also.
That's amazing.
That's something similar once happened to me. I once got onto the wrong school bus. On a winter day in Delhi, like full of fog and all, couldn't see really see. Got to the wrong school bus and ended up at the wrong school.
But the uniform?
Wrong school.
What was the uniform?
I don't remember right now, but maybe this uniform was similar or something. But nobody realized.
They all have this whitish, bluish.
It's
possible that nobody really paid attention. They're sort of similar sometimes.
Yeah, and with a name like Antariksh, you were probably roll number 3 or 4, so the number would have been same also.
No, it was actually surname. It was actually my surname. So I'm Tucker. So Tucker is right at the end.
Right at the end. They tucked you at the end.
No, yes. But if you want to take it for, give me 3 words that rhyme with Tucker.
Akkad, Bakkad, Bombay.
Pucker as a...
I won't stop until I hear that ugly word. Keep saying it.
Sucker.
No. Don't give up, Chuck. The origin of the word.
You asked for Amul. So mucker. We can call people who make butter. We can call them mucker.
I've been to Anand.
Very bad.
Sorry for another day. Next, AMAs.
Yes. Next one comes in from Girish Patil. He says,
Hello, Girish.
Maharashtra government announced electric vehicle policy, and they are making it compulsory for builders to provide electric charging points for vehicles in the next 2 to 3 years. Your opinion?
Oh no, but these are builders with new buildings. There are only so many new buildings. What happens to the rest, 95% population? Because I don't really go to your new building.
Exactly.
So that's not thinking it through properly. Every building has to have it. More importantly, it shouldn't cross a long area where you cannot physically go to a point and charge. Because it's just like a petrol pump. It's mirroring that, literally. It has to mirror that.
Yeah, I think what's going to end up happening if only the new buildings are going to have charging points is that the market for extension cords is going to increase. So you can imagine from the next housing society.
Oh yeah, all the way into your parking lot.
All the way to your parking lot.
We get back to Paul McCartney tripping in the live. Fantastic, because you'll be tripping everybody across the city with your damn. First we have those on top with our cables, and now we have the no end to that. Yeah. Sometimes I really feel there's just too much stuff happening in Mumbai that we should take a break for 3 years. Don't build anything. Don't do anything. Just give us a break. Just let the body recover.
Let the entire city just chill for 3 years.
Chill, and take it out on maybe Pune or go to Thane and do whatever you want to do. Of course, all those places are looking better than us now. Everybody, it's like having the ugly child. You thought you had a pretty child, and then everybody else's child is looking better. It's a terrible feeling. A true feeling. No, I'm kidding. It's not a true feeling. All right. Are you a electric car guy for the future, Chuck?
For sure. I don't know how to drive, but I am all for electric cars and whatever is happening in that space as well.
But it's a very hypocritical situation, because you think they're really going to get rid of the car lobby and all. I mean, the petrol, gas. I mean, it's just not going to disappear. How do you do that?
I generally don't know, but I think what's more hypocritical is that actually a lot of this electricity is actually coming from other places and actually ending up ruining those. I mean, those areas as well. So I mean, there's a lot of issues over here, but I think those problems will get solved over.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. I take you back to science, my friends. Don't knock science. So whatever you do, there's a reaction. Yeah.
Don't knock science, but I'm not sure you use the right Newton's law over there for this particular situation.
Now I have upset the intellectual in the Malayali friend. Now he's going berserk. Now he's like, how dare you? Stick to the comedy. Don't you dare give a lecture. I apologize. It won't happen again. If anybody's upset, we'll just show a picture of Ivan. Ivan just coming in. You're the sex symbol of our show. This beautiful man, he's been Mr. Lower Parel for the last 8 years. He's won every competition. Abs dikhao, abs. Yeah, abs nahi hai, chutiya. I mean, look at the level of competence that we work with. He's showing his arm when I say abs. Oh, God. God knows what he pees with. He has no idea. All right. What's up? Do we have time for 1 or 2 more, Chuck? Yeah, we do.
Sure. I do. I could do this all day.
Oh, God.
All right.
I don't have any podcast recordings today.
All right. This one comes in from Pradeep Pillai. He says, hi, Cyrus, Chuck, and Antriksh. What are your thoughts about Ahmedabad eyeing to host Olympics in 2036? Currently, international consultants are being screened for the event.
See, Mumbai will be in lockdown, so I don't know. Honestly, nothing will change here. We'll still be, Ahmedabad will be fine, I guess, doing their own thing. Yeah, it's a bit sad that we haven't had an Olympics. The great paper tiger, the rising economy, the greatest GDP the world has ever seen, the one and only put your money in India, blah, blah, blah. We should have an Olympics. Chuck?
I don't know. I think Olympics actually, there are lots of research to show that Olympics actually do worse for a city than.
But I thought it's both ways, right? It either does really well or really badly in terms of economy.
I don't know whether recently it's done really badly. I think becomes more of a, what do you call that thing? A Pyrrhic victory. I think that's what the intelligent people call this. I think like Tokyo, for instance, what's happening right there right now, Brazil during the World Cup. I don't know.
So one second. So London 2012 didn't do well for the city?
I don't think. There's a lot of
Rio 2016 didn't do well.
I don't think so. I don't think the cities actually ended up getting any additional infrastructure or anything like that. Look at all the stadiums that are lying unused after the Rio World Cup, for example, or the Brazil World Cup rather.
That's true. I have a bigger fear though. My big fear is that we get because it's decided 8 years in advance. You get the bid, and then BJP loses power, which means the opposition will go out of their way to destroy Ahmedabad 2036. So it'll be great. Our internal politics will always be fun.
Yeah, that being said, now we know why that cases in the Gujarat High Court to try and legalize alcohol. Now we know some forward-thinking person, 15 years.
We need those
earlier
brands.
has
You're the
started.
brand guy. We need those brands.
Yeah.
Why don't we have an Olympics for politicians? Just
Olympics
for
for
politicians.
politicians. Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, that would be
That
so
would,
much fun.
I would tune in. I would tune into that. Yeah.
By the way, Sambit Patra has released a video just now with the whole Jagannath Yatra in the background and all. He and Kailash Kher are like Simon and Garfunkel. Of we're talking about the East and the hidden East,
Yeah.
etc. So Odisha back in the spotlight for sure. And I was just thinking that is it because of the rejigging that the politician now feels a little insecure? So he thinks I have to have a second, violin to play.
Yeah.
And so Sambit Patra says, I'll become a singer because I can't trust this politics.
Yeah, it's interesting. So when you have Olympics for politicians, the sports will obviously change. So instead of horse racing, you'll have horse trading. And instead of you'll have chariot races like the yatras. So yeah, I think it's interesting idea. So I don't have an opinion on Ahmedabad eyeing to host the Olympics in 2036, but your idea, Cyrus, of an Olympics for politicians, definitely on board.
And which city? Delhi should get it?
Actually, no, I think that would make it too obvious. I think it should be somewhere else, random. What is like a famously apolitical city in India? Like it should be somewhere random, I feel.
Ayodhya?
Next question.
Relevant expression. Chuck, relevant expression.
Next question.
All right, sure.
Okay, let's take one more. Come.
One more. This last one comes in from another one from Harvesh Kasad. This one is, he says, Cyrus, did you see Harleen Deol's stunning catch on the boundary in the first T20? How many active male Indian cricketers, apart from Manish Pandey, Samson, Hardik, and Kohli, would have been able to pull such a kind of catch off? Also, should the BCCI seriously consider the payment disparity between male and female cricketers, or would that only be possible if there are more female administrators in sports?
That's two fully different questions.
Yeah,
loaded question.
And the second one is loaded, and it's also they're both sides of that argument. One is if you look at market demands, then the difference between male market demands and female market demands at the moment allows you to have a different pay scale. I'm not saying yes or no for anything. I'm just putting it out there. Chuck will be the one who will make the judgment call here, not me. No, so I'm just saying that's a problem. If you look at it from pure business point of view, if we are clinical about these things, at the moment they don't have the eyeballs. Except for Chuck and me, who are watching diligently. Me because I'm a creep, and any women in uniforms I have to watch. And Chuck because he really likes sport. What do you say, sir?
I was just about to say that I have no idea what the answer to the first question would be, even though I've seen the catch because it's been a while since I've actually watched the cricket match.
It's a soft question. You can say what you want.
No, but I think it's a matter of chicken. It's a chicken and egg situation, right? Like you look at the viewership for say women's tennis, and that's pretty high itself. I mean, the more I think it follows, right? The more sponsorship there is, the more viewership there is, which leads to more sponsorship and stuff like that. I think it just somebody will have to just push the
women's tennis and men's tennis in ratings are much closer than women's cricket and men's cricket.
Exactly, right?
In terms of the percentage of people who bums on seat in a stadium pre-COVID and TV rights, TV market.
Exactly. So it's a chicken and egg situation is what I'm trying to say. It's not like the quality is any different, right? So
what's the answer, my good friend? Don't back off. Don't be a politician. You'll be put in the
Olympics.
No,
I'm not backing off. I'm not backing off. I think like the pay scale has to be the same, and I think
regardless of the market, you're saying pay scale, gender parity.
Yeah, because I think then the market will adjust itself. Then you'll have more people getting interested, more sponsors, etc. Then a virtuous cycle kicks into place. But you need a kick for that virtuous cycle to happen somehow. Get more.
Sorry. No, I was saying Bill Burr's comments on the situation. I mean, which Sylvie will rifle up in a second, and not endorsing it ever. And I want to tell you 150 times that I come from a very feminist family, very powerful female figure. So I'm not one of those guys who comes from a male-dominated hierarchy situation at all. But of course, here they are not there and can't see what I'm saying. So they're free to exchange views in a democratic forum. This is not the Taliban yet. Yeah. So the judgment is we've gone for parity in scale.
Yeah.
There you go. Parity in scale regardless of market, which means we should get paid a lot. We have no market, but what about parity? Silvery?
Parity with? I think that's the question over here. Who do we have parity with?
The problem is the podcasts in general don't really make too much money yet, but
so we are at parity. If you think about it, we are at parity.
Yes, we are equal with everybody else. But what about from slightly different fields which are adjacent to us, like films or things like that? Why can't we? I mean, like Salman gets paid a lot more money, and I don't know why that's
Sure.
necessary.
So
I
you should
feel
do an Eid
victimized.
special and be paid a lot, is what you're saying.
Yeah, something like that.
This is a discussion I leave you to have with your producer.
But you're the
I
brand
am
guy. You
merely
have
a
to help.
guest.
You have
I'm
to help us
merely a
build the
guest on
brand.
this show.
But Chuck, we've
I'll
got
help
you to
you
build
do
the
that.
brand. When are you going to build the brand? When?
You put me on the spot here, but yeah, let's talk. I'll make a PPT.
Okay. Well, he makes a PPT. Thank you, Chuck, for everything. I will tell you what it's like to fly in these times next time we meet, because I'll be taking a flight shortly. Silvery, for some reason, is the politics has got to him. He's doing a namaste.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
He's showing obeisance and respect. He's mistaken you for the young Mayawati. He's just doing all that. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Cyrus.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Antariksh. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, asking questions.
And as we end, guys, it's over. It's done.
There we go.
I finished it more or less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the soup is
left. A
left.
little bit of the aloo is left, though. But okay.
Come on, bro. Come on. After 37 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, aloo doesn't taste like aloo anymore.
Yeah. That's fine.
Bye, guys. See ya.
Bye, everybody.